What you're looking at is a mini database here of essential oils that we sold in both the US and the UK, and we're going to use it to learn how to move, copy, and cut data. Now before you turn off the video and say, yeah, I already know how to do the basics, I've got more than just the basics. In fact, when you watch most of my training videos, if not all of them, if you know something about it, you may want to watch it because I try to throw in some extra shortcuts and helpful hints that not a lot of people, well, that I've come across, know about. In any case, so we don't bypass anybody on this, let's start with the basics and learn how to copy and paste. But before we do that, let's go ahead and add up the total for this employee for the sales that they made in the months of January through April. And to do that, we're going to come up here and click on the Formulas tab, go to the Function Library group, and click on AutoSum. And Excel's going to see a pattern here, a range that it thinks that you want to add up, but that's not the range. So let's go ahead and click and drag and select the range that we want to add up, which are these months for that employee that they made sales. C6 through F6 and hit enter, and there we go. Okay, so now that we have the formula there, as we learned in an earlier training video, we can copy that and paste it in other cells or the next cell down below because it's going to be the same formula. Of course, it's going to be in a different rows, so it's going to update it and say this is going to be for row 7 and not keep the same row, otherwise it would get the same value that we see up here. So to go ahead and copy a cell or a range of cells by clicking and dragging and selecting whatever range you want to copy, let me just go ahead and select the cell here because that's the one we want to copy. You can either right click on it and go down to copy, or you can Control C, which are the shortcut keys to copy, or you can come up here on the Home tab to the clipboard group and click on the copy button. Now when you click copy, you're going to get these green lines racing around it. That means Excel's in copy mode. Well, it reminds me of ants marching around a picnic table. In any case, it's in copy mode to go ahead and start pasting what is being selected with those marching ants. Select another cell, and basically it's the same thing when it comes to pasting. You get the right click option, and down you get a lot of paste options. You can go ahead and choose the basic one, which I recommend, until we learn more about the other paste options. Or again, you can come up here on the Home tab to the clipboard group and click on paste, or you can use the shortcut keys Control V as in Victor, and that will paste as well. And it'll give you a tag here to open up to say, okay, once you paste it, is there anything that you want as an option? Like, do you want to go ahead and keep the source formatting? In other words, if the source had formatting applied to it, like bold in the color red, it would also bring that formatting over as well. In any case, there we go. And it's still in copy mode, so you can keep on, pasting until you got everything pasted that you want for the formula, because the formula up here can be pasted in these two next cells here and also for the UK down below. But before we do that, let me hit the escape key. As you recall, you can go ahead and do autofill. You can click and drag the formula down and it'll automatically fill in the formula there. But here's another shortcut that I think you'll find helpful. We've got the cell here that contains the formula, and it's correct because it's referring to row 7 and still the same columns, January through April, or C through F. The shortcut is that go ahead and put it in copy mode, so Control C, and then go ahead and select all the other cells that you want to paste this formula into. And as you recall in an earlier training video, to select more than one cell at the same time and non-consecutive cells, use the Control key. So hold down the Control key, click and drag to select those two cells, and then with the Control key still held down, click and drag to select that range. And then just hit Enter on the keyboard and hey, sweet. Isn't that fun? There's a shortcut that will automatically take what you have copied and whatever you select and hit Enter, copy that cell over into those other cells. Now let's double check to make sure that it did copy the formula. Come down here, select a cell. And is it the same formula where it's going to add up the range, and is it the correct range? You can see up here in the formula bar, or you can double click really fast, which is probably the easiest thing to do to see if it's really the correct range for where it's at here. And yeah, it's selecting the cells adjacent, well, not exactly adjacent to it, but within the same row and the same range that we started up at the top here when we inserted the first formula. Cool. Go ahead and hit the escape key to get out of that. Now next we can learn how to move a range of cells. So if we're thinking, you know what, the totals isn't close enough, or maybe we need to move it out further. If it's just a cell or a range, click and drag to select the range, and to move that range or just a cell, hover over the border until you go from a white cross to a four-way arrow indicating that you can move whatever you have selected up, down, left, or right. You can click and drag to push it in so it's closer, or you can click and drag and move it back. Now, when it comes to short distances, I think that works just well. But if you're going to go ahead and move this range here way out there, maybe to column AA, well, when it comes to clicking and dragging that far, Excel gets kind of excited and it starts picking up speed, and then it's hard to slow them down. So for me, if it's not within a short distance, I'll use the cut and paste feature. To go ahead and do that, it's basically the same as copying and pasting. Go ahead and select your cell or range of cells and right click. You get the cut option. And again, you get the marching ants. I mean, how can you tell whether it's going to cut or copy? Well, if you can't remember, you're in trouble, because Excel's not going to tell you here. With the marching ants, they're the same. They're not shouting out little callouts that you're cutting or copying. So the only way we can find out what we just did is either hit the escape key and start over, or just come over here and paste in a new cell, which brings up a good point. You don't have to select a range that's equal to the range that you're copying. Just click in a cell, and whatever it can't fit into the cell, it'll expand it. And because it can't fit everything here that we have selected into one cell, because it's in separate cells by default, it's going to expand it, and it'll have its own cell for each data within its own cell when we originally cut it. So go ahead and right click on it, go down to paste, or Control V as in Victor to paste, and there you go. And then of course you can click and drag to move it back. Choose the way that works best for you. Now there's also the move and copy feature, where you can, while moving a cell, copy it at the same time. In this example, maybe I want to go ahead and put the totals here, so I can start adding up the totals for the months here for the US. And so instead of retyping in totals, I could come up here and click on the totals cell and click and drag it to move it. And you're like, wait a second, are you really going to move that? Because if you move it, you won't have the totals label up above. If I hold down the Control key while I'm moving it, let me move it over here. You see that little plus sign to the right of my pointer there? I don't know if you can see it. Go ahead and try it on your computer. You should be able to see it, hopefully. That little plus sign means that when you click and drag any cell, it's going to make a copy of it. So let go of the mouse, then let go of the Control key, and there you go. It didn't move the totals. It just, while moving, when I hit the Control key, it made a copy of it. You can click and drag the border down here and let go, and it made a copy of the cell that I had selected, and I clicked and dragged down to cell B21. Now you can also work with columns here. If you want to cut or copy an entire column or columns, just go ahead and click and drag on the column headers, or click and drag on the row headers. So let's keep it simple and click on column H, and you can see the black arrow pointing down, so it'll select the entire column. Again, you can right click to get your options there, or use the shortcut keys. We can cut that, and then right click on column K and go down to the paste option. And if I'm pasting into a cell that's taking up or has been merged with other cells, let's go ahead and click cancel. I don't want to do that, is what I'm saying. Let me go ahead and right click on column L and go down to paste, and there we go. I'm going to go ahead and hit undo and hit the escape key to get out of that. Now if you have multiple items that you want to copy, in other words, instead of copying one part of your worksheet and coming over here and pasting it, coming over here, copying that, then pasting it over here one at a time, that can be very annoying. They have what's called a clipboard that you can go ahead and do all your copying at once, and then come over here with the clipboard, and from the clipboard, select all those that you want to paste that you added to the clipboard. To open up the clipboard, come up here on the Home tab to the clipboard group, and there's the expandable dialog box button. And it allows you to see all the items you've copied to the clipboard. Click on it, and there's the clipboard. And what we can do is we can go ahead and select one cell, Control C to copy it, to add it, and you can see down below in the lower right hand corner, the window says that it allows you up to 24 items to copy. So let's go to the second item, and we're 2 of 24, and the third item, and you can see that they're being added over here. Whatever that you want to copy, and have them all on the clipboard at once instead of going back and forth, copying one item or a range of cells at one time. Get them all copied up to 24, then go ahead and move to another part of your worksheet or within the workbook, or even an entirely new workbook. If you want to come up here and click on the File tab, go down to New, and click on Blank Workbook, then it's right there as well. So I can go to a new workbook. You can see up here on the title bar, Book 1. It's not the Move, Copy, Cut, and Paste workbook. And then you can go ahead and pick which one you want to add. So you can do it in a more organized format. And next would be February, and then, well, if you remember the numbers where they need to go. But nonetheless, you can do all your copying at once, not one at a time, and use the clipboard to go ahead and paste it. And when you hover over it, you can click on the drop-down arrow to paste it or delete it. You can also right-click to get the paste and delete option as well. And you can go ahead and select a cell and say Paste All. And then when you're done, let's go ahead and clear all, close out. Let's close out of the blank workbook and not save it. Go ahead and close out of here. The clipboard, go back to our first worksheet, and we're back to where we started. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.